I'm your host, Sid Patrick, World Travel Medium. Today we have Dr. Charlotte Pipes with us. She is a retired professor of music. She currently performs with an early music group here in the New Orleans area. Dr. Pipes is also a Wiccan priestess. She's also one of our instructors at the Metaphysical Resource Center. So join us today to meet Dr. Pipes. And now a word from our sponsor.
Welcome to a different kind of inner peace. Here at the Metaphysical Resource Center, you will find a variety of classes, services, and events. We sell metaphysical products and accessories. You can schedule a session with one of our professional healers, mediums, readers, or even a table tipping event. We are your resource for all things metaphysical.
We know you're coming, darling, for that reading, and tell him Psychic Sissy sent ya.
Well, now let's meet Dr. Charlotte Pipes. Hi, Dr. Pipes. How you doing? Do we call you Charlotte while we talk?
Absolutely.
Great. So, Charlotte, tell us a little bit about your journey into Wiccan.
As a child, I was very much attracted by the natural world, and I was fortunate in that I grew up in a rural setting next to a large forest where I spent all my time as a child, and I just was intrigued by all of that. My favorite thing was to climb a tree and stay there for hours and be really quiet and watch the animals and watch the communication between them, and I was fascinated with that. The other thing about the natural world that I really loved was the sky. I fell in love with the stars and the moon and the sun and all of that, and I memorized all the names. They were like my friends. I could walk out on any night and say, this is that, and this is that, and here comes this, and I loved being able to do that. So I think I got my first telescope in the 3rd grade, and then 3-inch reflector. I was so proud. And after that, every summer I was spent on the roof of my house with my telescope. So I started looking for a spirituality early on that would incorporate all of that, and I really started searching maybe around high school, talking to different friends at school, and attending services with different people. And I was raised a Christian, and so the first thing I wanted to know about were the different Christian religions. And then when I got to college, that opened up a whole new world of different spiritual paths, different faiths. So I took the opportunity to attend as many different functions and services and all of that, and gradually I kept reading and reading and reading about all these religions, and then one day I was reading and I read a definition of Wicca, and I remember I just stopped and I said, that's me. This is a religion. What I believe is actually a thing. It's called Wicca, and then I started reading everything I could on Wicca and realized that was really what I was. I was Wicca.
So what influences did you have on your journey? Were there certain books or authors or people that influenced you or helped you throughout your journey?
Okay. Well, the person that really introduced European-style Wicca to America was Raymond Buckland. Still alive and thriving. And he brought that European-style idea of celebrating either as a solitary or as a coven. And that's what I became. I became just a solitary, what we call a Wicca practitioner. And he advocated both. He said you didn't have to be a member of a coven. You could just be Wiccan and just be a solitary. So I read a lot of his books. Also on the spiritual side, I read a lot of an author, Dion Fortune. I read a great deal of her books, and I was intrigued with her views on spirituality, and I found a real resonance there with things that she believed and things that she wrote about. And I guess my third influence...
Isn't she the one that did the Paranormal Self-Defense?
Yes,
thing?
right.
Her book, right?
Right. Yes,
okay,
yes. In fact, she had a book called Psychic Self-Defense.
Oh.
And I read all through that, and I teach a course now, as you know, at the center called Paranormal Self-Defense. And I advocate many of her techniques in that class because I know they work. I've used them for years, and they really do work, and I teach them to other people, and they tell me, yes, the technique works. My third influence would be Deborah Wiles from Florida, now deceased. I knew her for many years. I met her at the New Orleans Science Fiction Convention that's held yearly, and she was presenting talks on the paranormal and the supernatural. I went to one of her talks, and we just clicked, and we were good friends for years and years and years. She created a website herself and was teaching metaphysical matters on her website, and she asked me to be one of her teachers on her website. So it was for her that I developed several of the courses, and then she passed away, and so there I was with all these courses.
But she still visits.
Oh, she still visits.
We can't forget to let our audience know about she still visits.
Yes, and you were there the night that she really showed up. Yes,
I was.
yes. So anyway, Deborah, I still tap into her energy. I guess, converse with her, discuss things with her, ask her to give me signs. She's still very much present in my life and in the life of her family. And I know that she's happy about the fact that all of those courses that I developed for her, I'm still teaching, and I'm teaching them at the center now. And I know she's delighted to know that they're still going on, that I'm still going on with the teaching of it.
And just because we sparked our audience's curiosity with that little comment, we'll give them a brief. We'll talk about one night we were having a spirit gathering, and Deborah channeled in right through you, and you don't remember much about what happened. We all got to hear it, so so just kind of want to let y'all know that that's
yeah.
the story of Deborah.
Right.
She does still come to visit us on occasion.
She does still come to visit. Like
Yes.
I said, I think she loves the center. I think she loves the whole concept of it.
Correct.
And all of you, because when her energy shows up in the room, she stays for a long time. She's not just popping in to say hello. She's coming to be a part of what's going on there, and I think that's great validation for the center and what we do.
Yes, and a lot of the things that we do there are things that she would have validated in her life as well. So we love having her energy around there. It really is beneficial. So, so tell us some of the things you're involved in today with Wiccan. I know there's a parade coming up that's local. And
we have Pagan Pride Day that we have coming up in October. And we do this every year. Sometimes it's on different dates, but we always strive for a Saturday in October. I think it's the 10th this year. I have to check.
2015, I have to say that.
Yeah, 2015. And there's a website, people can go on that, and it's we call it Pagan Pride Day. The website is gnoppd.org.
Well, we're going to put that on at the end of the show for our viewers. If any of them happen to be in the New Orleans area.
Right, and we'll all be out there. All of the different faiths are going to be represented out there. I like that aspect of it, that their different covens will have a table if you want to come up and talk to them and ask them their priestesses will be there. We have a lot of readers, psychic readers. I'll be doing Norse runes. I'll also be leading a witch's round dance.
What is that?
Okay, that's a circle dance that witches will do within a ritual where they move around and purposely start to generate energy within the circle. And because it's within the confines of the circle, the energy builds up. And then you take that energy and you mentally send it into something, or you send it up aloft to go do some work for healing or whatever. The Witch's Round Dance that I'm going to present there is for harvest season, because that's what we're in. We're in harvest season. And it's just a Witch's Round Dance, and we continuously will be moving to the right, and then every person will be spinning to the right, and they will be gathering energy from around the air, concentrating it in front of them between their hands, and then they all move towards the center of the circle where I'll have a cauldron, and they're going to push that energy into the cauldron. Then they back up, they move in the circle to a new spot, and where more energy is, then they spin to the right, gathering, again, concentrating and push. And the song is called John Barleycorn, and it's an old world song. Many different faiths, pagan faiths, have different versions of it. I'm going to sing the version I know. And it likens the harvest to a person called John Barleycorn. And the lyrics are really about the harvest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So, speaking of the harvest, let's talk about the different seasons or the different rituals within your religion, or
Okay.
within your faith.
All right. In Wicca, we have 8. We have 4 what we call solar holidays. Those would be the equinoxes and the solstices. Then we have 4 what we call cross-quarter holidays. Those are the seasonal holidays. They fall halfway between the quarterly ones, and so the 4 plus the 4 cross-quarters makes the 8. We are in the harvest season now. We did a Lammas or Lunasa ritual out at the center recently. That was the first harvest. We're coming up on the second harvest, which is the Autumn Equinox Festival. So I'll be presenting a ritual out there for at the center for the Autumn Equinox. And then we will be returning for another ritual, which will be the third and final harvest ritual called Samhain, which means summer's end. The word looks like Samhain, but it's pronounced Samhain, summer's end. And it's the third and final harvest festival. And I'll be doing a ritual out at the center. It's commonly known as Halloween.
Yes.
We call it Samhain, and
Right.
others call it Halloween. But on Halloween night, we'll be having a ritual, a final harvest ritual. And this is the ritual where we invite the dead. It's for them. It's for them. In my belief system, in Wiccan belief system, that is actually New Year's Eve for us. And on the new year, the eve of the new year, we call that the night out of time.
Okay.
It is a night that is not in the year just past, and it's a night that's not in the year to come. It's a night that stands on its own.
Oh, okay.
It's the night out of time. And because it is special, it is sacred to us, because anything can happen on that night. Our phrase is, the veil grows thin. That veil we're talking about is the veil separating the living from the dead. We know that they're not gone. They have just
See that all
dropped.
the time.
Yeah, right.
See that.
They're in spirit form. We're still in physical form. These bodies have difficulty picking up on them in their spiritual form. But on that night, when the veil is thin, you can really call out to them and they can really come and manifest for you. So it's
Which we've seen.
It's a very special night, and we'll be celebrating that out at the MRC, like we did last year.
Well, what I want to talk to our viewers about a little bit is, because the biggest Hollywood myth is the pentagram. So let's go ahead and tell everyone about the pentagram and what it truly means and how it should be positioned and break all those myths we hear on television.
Okay. All right. It's a 5-pointed star within a circle. When you see it displayed like that, that's a pentacle. The 5-pointed star itself is the pentagram, which is a very popular star. It shows up on a lot of flags, including our own. When you circle it like that, then it becomes a pentacle. And it is a symbol of our faith. And it is also the symbol of many pagan faiths. A lot of people wear this. And each one of the points, and depending on what category of faith you follow, each one of the points means a different thing, but basically they all mean the 4 elements. For some people, the one on the bottom on the left would be fire. For some people, on the bottom on the right is fire, whatever. There are 4 elements that we salute. Earth, air, fire, water. Those are the 4 elements that ancient peoples believed all the universe was made of. The entire universe was made of different combinations of just 4 things: earth, air, fire, or water. And the Greeks even still believed that. It's not a out of date idea. So anyway, when we wear this, we are saluting that idea. We're saluting that tradition, that idea of the 4 elements. When you see it positioned like this, with 1 point to the top, that's Wicca. That's also many pagan religions. Why do we have the 1 point up? That 1 point to us stands for spirit. The being that manifested the universe. The being that watches over all of us. You know, the being that created everything, the supreme being. some religions say God, some say Allah, Yahweh. All these different religions call it by a different name, but it is the supreme being. So when you see the pentacle like that, with 4 points on the bottom part and then 1 point straight up, what it's saying is that we believe the universe, all the elements represented, the universe itself is all under the guidance of the One, the Supreme Being. If you see it in other configurations, that can mean other things. Sometimes you'll see it with the 2 points up and 1 point down. Some other religions may use that, some other spiritual paths may use that, where they want to de-emphasize the importance of the Supreme Being. They want to more emphasize the importance of the elements of the universe, because that's what we deal with, and I understand that. But when you see it like this, you're talking to someone who is celebrating the Supreme Being overall. Right.
Very good. Very good. So
yeah.
That breaks up a lot of Hollywood myths, I'm sure.
Right. Yes. You see it turned into all these things and stuff like that, and I'm going, yeah, oh gosh, here we go again. Yeah, because when I wear it out in public, I get stopped all the time by people asking me, what does that really mean? And it'll turn into a teaching moment, like in a grocery store parking lot, or in the mall. I mean, it happens to me all the time. But people that know me know it's harmless. When you see it, the point up, the person you're talking to is harmless.
Right.
All right?
They're a spiritual being.
They're a spiritual being, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now let's talk to our audience a little bit about the different courses that you teach, or the things you do at our center. And let's talk a little bit about how they relate to the spiritual practice or the faith of Wicca.
Of Wicca, okay. Many of the things that we participate in, like divination, okay. I just taught a class on scrying, which is a form of divination.
So for our viewers, explain to them what scrying is, because they're not, we're educating people here. So,
all right. It's when you gaze into something, like crystal ball gazing or something like that. There's a whole process involved that gets your mind to a meditative state, so that when you're looking into it, you're in a meditative state. When you scry, you're not actually using the eyes in your face. You're using what we call the third eye. You're using your intuition. So the whole process of scrying is adjusting your mental capacity to that meditative state, so that you can receive information from spirit.
And I just want to clarify, scrying isn't always done in a crystal ball. It's really a good way to describe scrying would be gazing.
Right.
Because you can go to a pool of water at a pond, or you can go into a, many use the plate, the dark scrying plate, or...
Some people use a glass. Some people take a mirror and then they paint the back of it black, and then they use that.
Why would they paint it black? Because I have to.
Just so that there's no distracting figures or
when we use that term, though, I have to clarify.
Sure,
it's not for some kind of religious practice.
No. It's just that you want to look into a void. You don't want something to attract your eye or distract you, because it might make you focus your eyes on it, and you're supposed to be sitting there gazing with blurred vision. Okay, in the meditative state, open to spirit to give you information.
Right.
So I brought several things for people to try, and we kind of played round robin with it. And everyone last night found something that worked for them, which is what I was hoping for. Everyone found something that they now know is their element, and they can start using that. But once you get into the practice of using it and doing it, you can pretty much scry anything, because it's a mental process.
Right. So. And what are some of the other classes?
Some of the other classes, women's studies.
Yes.
Because long ago, again, by tradition, the deity was a duality. It was always a male and a female. There's always a god and a goddess. In many ancient religions, they had a god and a goddess. So I talk a lot about that, because some of the major religions today that are influential today have single male deities. And that's what I was raised with. So I understand where they're coming from with that. For me, when I was switching over into being a pagan, I often wondered to myself, how do you do that? How do you worship a woman? How do you worship female deity? I don't know how to do that. I've never done that before like that. And I was meditating one day, and a goddess came in. Goddess spoke to me in meditation. I had these thoughts come into my mind, and it was the goddess saying, basically, I've always been here. You may not have acknowledged me as the feminine divine, but the feminine divine exists in all religions.
Yes, well, even in Christianity, it's Mary. It's Mary Magdalene.
It's Mary, yes.
Yes, so
and,
it's,
Yeah. I teach a basic course in divination,
Okay.
where we talk about the theory behind the practice of it. I also encourage students to come with their own ideas, because I like that roundtable discussion in a class like that, because everyone in the class comes in with a different background. And they may have tried divination in different tools, using different elements and different systems, and all of that is intriguing. And I want everyone to hear about the different kinds of divination that are out there. I also talk to them about, do you want to ask for help? I always ask for help. When I sit down to do a divination or a reading of any kind, I always ask for help from my spirit guide. I ask for help from my deity, my angels, your guides, your angels, everyone. Deborah,
Yes.
ask her, because she was a card reader, and I always, especially when I'm reading for someone else, I want their assistance, because I'll receive an answer, I'll get an answer and everything, and I ask them to help me interpret it for that person. I know what it might mean for me, but I want to make sure that I'm interpreting it correctly for that person. And what they'll help me with is to ask the right questions, because that's very important, to ask the right questions. Some people don't realize that they can ask for help from an outside source. And so then I say, okay, well, who will you ask? And then they sit there and go, I don't know, who would I talk to? Yeah. I think it's important to figure out ahead of time where is the information coming from, and so I teach the basic divination, and then I let them actually practice the divination in class. We get to practice on each other,
That's wonderful.
which is fun. I teach runic divination, which is Norse rune divination. For people that are familiar with it, I use the Elder Futhark system. Lots of people are intrigued by that, and I find that my best readings, because I do readings with the runes professionally, I find that when people walk up to me, they ask me, what is this? How do you do a reading with Norse runes? And I always ask them, what was their ancestry? If their ancestry was from Northern Europe, then their ancestors used runic. It could have been Norse runes or Germanic runes. It could have been Anglo-Saxon runes. All of those northern tribes had the British Isles, they all had their own rune divination system. I'm always asking, who are your ancestors? And then if they say they were from like Southern Europe, like Spain or Italy or whatever, I'll point out a tarot reader, because that's tarot. I always try to match them up with what their ancestors used. I like the synergy of that. And I think that if their ancestor is standing around them, which is often true, their ancestor will be familiar with the tarot reader, or will see cards or see symbols that they knew in life that they can help with. So I teach that. I teach psychic self-defense. We talked about that. I call it paranormal self-defense.
Talk about your wand making.
Yes, we have, right.
We have a new course at our center called Practical Magic, where Charlotte teaches a lot of courses in that, and one of them is the wand making. So
wand magic.
Yes.
People often ask me, do you use a wand like Harry Potter? And I will say, well, I use a wand, but not like Harry Potter. Wands are tools for concentrating energy. That's what they are. They help you focus your mind. They help you concentrate whatever power, whatever energy you want. You can use them even in divination. Like if you have a divination tool, you can take your wand and mentally concentrate and pull energy into the wand and then tap. I've done that before, where you tap and you discharge the energy into the bowl or the glass or the ball or whatever you're going to use. You know, you can do it that way. But it's a tool for concentration, and I also use it for sending healing energy long distance. You know, I'll visualize the person, then I'll charge the wand, bless it, consecrate it under a full moon, and then within a protected circle, I'll pull white energy into it until I can feel it vibrating. And then I will get my spirit guides on board and tell them this is what I want to do, and then I visualize the person that I'm sending the healing energy to, and I even visualize what part of them needs the healing. So you can shoot that long distance.
A lot of our healers use wands in the healing rooms that we have.
Because you focus and concentrate.
And they actually even they call it energy surgery, where they go in to certain ailments and they'll use a wand to focus the energy. Sometimes that wand will be filled with certain stones or energy chargers to work on people healing.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And you can make your own wand, or you can purchase it and bless it. Anything can be purchased for use. If you want to make your own, that's wonderful. But a lot of people don't have the time or the resources to do that. So purchasing one is fine. And then go online and look for ways to bless it.
Right.
And we call it charging, where you consecrate it to good works. And you call on deity, or you call on your spirit guides to help you. And then Wiccans, we like to do that on a full moon night, because we get all that lunar energy. We really tap into that. So I'll bless it and charge it in the circle, and I'll tell spirit what I want to use it for, and then I'll go and I'll place it outside where the full moonlight hits it all night, and then pick it up the next morning and it's ready for use. So
So what I'd like to do now is, I want to talk, because I'm taking this into another area, so I'm going to talk a little bit with our audience about misconceptions about the dark side, misconceptions about, and there are some people who do practice in the dark side. We know that they are, but majority in all, Wiccans definitely follow a path of light.
Right.
They definitely follow, positive energies.
Mm-hmm.
So talk a little bit with our audience about, your viewpoint on the differences and how to avoid, or just a little bit about your experiences with that.
Okay. I have met people all through my life that work in dark magics. They want to tap into the power of that energy, and there is a lot of power in that energy. I don't believe that energy is conducive to good works. There are times when you want to get rid of things that are harmful, but there are positive light-filled ways to banish dark things. I think tapping into dark energy is dangerous.
Yes.
I don't advocate it at all. Even knowing as much as I know about it, I don't touch it. I never go there. I don't want to hear about it.
But we do come up against it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
It is it's a balance in the universe. Okay.
Yes.
And many people say without the dark there would be no light. I choose not to work with dark energy. It's a choice I made a long time ago. And whenever I encounter that, I shield against it, and I protect people from it. And there are people that you'll meet and immediately you know they've been working with that, because there's something about their aura, there's something about their energy that is not under their control. I guess that's the best way to put it. When you tap into those kind of dark forces, you're not always going to be able to control what happens. They will, or it will. And that's the totally dangerous thing about it. You are opening yourself up for being controlled by an outside force.
When we come back, the reason I brought that up is when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the journeys you and I have taken, and where we've actually had to deal with some of those darker forces and some of the things that have happened. But right now we're going to take a little commercial break. Now, a word from our sponsor. Thank you. ready to talk about, before this commercial break, we'll get ready to talk a little bit about one of the things we do together, which is house cleansings or house blessings. Actually, it's a blessing and a cleansing where we go in. And some of the experiences that we had with those dark forces, those entities, those energies that were in people's homes that we went in to cleanse. So just to show and explain to our audience and our viewers a little bit about some of the things we've come up against. We recently did a house, I think it was across the lake, I don't want to name too much, but they had recently done a television show in this house, and we were asked to come in by the producers and the maker of that, who did the television show, to come in and cleanse that house post their leaving. Explain a little bit about what happened that day.
Okay. One of the things that Wiccans use in cleansing is a broom. We don't fly it like Harry Potter. I wish I could. I'd be a Quidditch mamma jamma.
Yes.
I would love to play Quidditch. But one of the things we use it for is cleansing and mentally cleansing, metaphysically cleansing. You can take any broom and bless it. Again, consecrate it, bless it, charge it, ask Spirit to make it into a tool for you to cleanse dark energy, to cleanse negativity away. And then leave it out under the full moon, the whole thing. And that's what I use. I have a broom that I have consecrated for cleansings. And I use it, I have it in one hand, and it's only about that long, and I have it in this hand. And when you cleanse, you move in a counterclockwise, traditionally for us, you go in a counterclockwise direction. So I was sweeping the air, and then in this hand I had incense. And because that was the cleansing part, I was using a real pungent incense called white sage. Some people don't like it, it's kind of acrid, but it's for clearing out negativity, so that's got a strong smell. So it's, we're walking around and I'm doing this, and I'm pushing the smoke from the sage up into all the rafters. I'm making sure that I'm getting all the corners and all kind of like that. And as I'm walking, and again, I'm going in a counterclockwise circle through the room for cleansing. And as I'm going counterclockwise, I start to feel like I'm walking into thicker air.
Right. I remember that room.
Right. Yes. And it got I could feel it in my broom that all of a sudden it felt like I was stirring something, like the air got very thick. And so here's the sage starts to really smoke. Well, pagans, Wiccans, many of us say that the sage knows. The spirit of the sage knows when it's needed, and when you go into an area and it starts really smoking, that it's trying to cleanse something out there. So it starts really smoking, and and then my broom is already thick, and I go higher and higher because I'm trying to get all the way the smoke to the ceiling. And as I'm up there doing this, some unseen force knocked it out of my hand, because I was going in this direction, and then it picked up and fell. It just went right over. And I stopped, and I took a breath, and I picked it up again, and I kept going, and the same thing happened. I'm going counterclockwise, and something goes pop, hits the floor. Well, no, I'm a witch. You don't knock the broom out of my hand, and you certainly don't let it hit the floor. Well, after that, I wasn't scared, I was mad.
Right.
So then I furiously pushed it, and I started speaking my, words of power and that kind of thing, and we started chasing it through the room.
And while you were doing that, I was anointing the windows, the doors, and praying over the windows and doors. And what I remember is, as we got and we pushed that energy, is this room was at the top of the stairs, and the kitchen was downstairs. We pushed that energy down, and then this book goes flying across the table and hits the floor on the downstairs, and that was pretty metaphysical. That was pretty metaphysical. I remember that. I'll never forget that moment, but because it was definitely that spirit, that energy, that dark and negative did not want to leave that home.
Right.
That was
right.
And we haven't gotten more calls back now, so I think we did a good job.
I hope so. And she knows that she can call us and everything, and I really enjoyed working. There were children there, and I really enjoyed showing the children some little paranormal self-defense techniques and things like that, so that they wouldn't be afraid there. But
then we did another house where we had some negative energy, where when they did the history of this home, they had found that a man had given his soul, apparently to some demon or the devil himself, and he died in the home. And when they bought the home, there was religious artifact hanging in certain places in the home. And tell a little bit about what happened in the bathroom.
Well, we walked in there and everything looked normal. It felt strange, but we feel a lot of strange things. So we try to be objective when we go in, right? We have the history, we know what the people have experienced, but we go in and we're totally objective, right? So we're in there, and I think the dark energy that we felt actually was in the room next to it, in the closet area or something. We both felt a thickness there, okay? And the woman showed us the bathroom, and she said that her son had seen things in the mirror. Well, there was nothing in the mirror.
Right.
So anyway, she said that he experienced it when he was taking a shower once, or twice. Twice it had happened, he was taking a shower. So anyway, she turned on the shower, and then she closed the door to simulate what it would be like when he's in there. And we went into that next room, I think, and we were working in there.
Right.
And then we came back, and she opened the door, and sure enough,
Yeah, the word.
there was the word help in the condensation on the mirror.
Right.
And it was, we had looked at the mirror carefully, because she had said, there's it happens in the mirror. And we both examined the mirror very closely, and you took something and you actually wiped afterwards, to try to be a deterrent to anything else. But what we saw appear there was the word help. So the sun was not making it up, it was really in there. And you determined that it was emanating from the room on the other side of the wall.
Yes. That's
And
right.
it was an energy that had been left there by someone that had been there and felt trapped. And in their soul they had screamed for help. And it had imprinted, and things like that will imprint. When you have fear of loss of life, or high anxiety, and you scream in your soul, that energy that goes out from you is like a shock wave, and it'll impact on things around it. And it had come out on that mirror, and her poor son had totally unknown to him, and he just got out of the shower one day, and there was this word, and he freaked out, and I understandably I would freak out too.
Since we knew the story, what I did before was I purposely wiped the mirror to see if there was anything, because some people we have to try to debunk everything that we do, and so
we always look for a rational
stuff. Maybe somebody wrote it in soap.
Right. We always look for an
explanation. So I scrubbed the whole mirror before we even let her do that, just to see.
Right.
And so yes, and the word still came up.
It still came out.
That was amazing. So I tell people all the time that when we do house blessings, because we do paranormal investigations too at the center. We do have a course in that at the center, and we go to a lot of old hotels, and we don't see hardly anything at these investigations like we do house cleansings. And the reason for that, and I try to explain to people, it's because when we go to a house blessing, we're moving into activity. You go to an old hotel, you're getting residual haunting, you're getting things that are just residual, things that are just hanging around for centuries. When we go into an active cleansing, where there are active things happening, we are going against energies that have been stirred up, that are actively and progressively doing things.
Right.
And so,
and that's when we get the phone call.
Yes.
Because the people that are living there, it really has started to affect the quality of their life, and they have to deal with it or move out, and they don't want to move. So,
Well, so far they've been successful.
Yes, they have
So
been.
far we've cleansed many homes.
Yeah, and it is a two-step process. We do the cleansing first, and then we go back in and we do the blessing. And we have different tools that we use, and we use, like I said, the sage and all that. You have anointing oils. We have the different incenses that we use. We have your bowl, your singing bowl, sound waves.
Sounding.
And we usually give, we like to have the owner participate with us. So we'll give them a job to do, like to ring a bell or carry an incense stick or whatever. It is their home, and it is a way for them to take control of the situation.
Exactly.
You know, and it often is, like you said, it's an active haunting.
Right. Yes.
It's not just something left over from an event. It's
active. It's active. That's why we see so much. And just to clarify, we don't go in there with just pagan traditions. We call in angels.
Right.
We call, which pagans do too, but not some groups do. We also, I carry Christianity. So I go in and I'll speak words from a biblical sense. And so it's a combination, because all good energy is good no matter where it comes from.
Right.
And that's how I want the audience to realize that as long as your heart is in the right place and you always work in the light and love of a supreme being or God, whoever, you can work with getting rid of these negative energies. But you just have to know how and be open and willing to do so.
Because any religion can do this.
Yes.
What we do, because as you said, there's only one.
Yes.
There's only one supreme being. So if you're working in love and light, your energy is all coming from one place. It's one source. So yeah.
So to conclude, but to kind of wrap all this up, tell us a little bit about the differences between Wicca and witchcraft.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for asking that, because there is a difference. The craft, when you say the word witchcraft, you're talking about the craft. You're talking about the processes. And there are many things, like I said, cleansing. That's a craft. Blessing is a craft. Many religions use different processes and they use different tools to do metaphysical work. That's the craft.
In Christianity, saying the rosary.
Right.
Prayer.
Right. Those are the workings and the processes of it. I know Catholic witches. They're raised Catholic and they still believe in their Catholic faith, but they also participate in the craft, where they'll do spell work, always for good intentions. When they know that someone is sick, they will bless some water, or they will bring, they will do a ritual in the moonlight and bless some incense, and then bring that incense to a sick person, and burn it, in their room so that they receive the blessing. That's the craft. That's witchcraft. But their religion is Catholic. Okay.
Well, in church. In a Catholic church, there's a lighting of the candles and healing. That's a craft.
That's a craft.
That's a craft.
That's craft.
It's Catholic craft instead of witchcraft.
Right. And here in New Orleans, one of our most famous crafters was Marie Laveau. From the what people call, I think the generic term is voodoo, VOODOO, but actually for the Haitian Voodoo, it's VODOU, and they pronounce it voodoo. Marie Laveau is the most famous voodoo queen of New Orleans, but she was Catholic.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that the most famous voodoo of all time in the city was Catholic. And she worked with the priests, and she went to Mass every day, and she was very...
And she was an herbalist.
An herbalist and very strongly spiritual.
Yeah. And she worked in one of our hospitals. Look, if you do that too. She did. She worked at one of the local hospitals in New Orleans. So she was in her 90s.
Oh, wow. Wow. So again, that's the craft. Some people, like me, become Wicca. Our spiritual path is to work with the Supreme Being, and then we also use the craft. I know some Wiccans that don't do craft work at all. They just meditate and pray. That's all they want to do. They meditate, they pray, and they feel that is their path. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Some like me, participate also in the craft, in that we make things, we craft things, we bless things, but again, it's all for white energy work.
Right.
Okay, and the divination, again, I know Wiccans that don't do divination, they don't scry, they don't do all those things, but they do meditate, they do pray, and that's the way they practice their Wicca. So when you say witchcraft, you're talking about the craft.
Right.
When you say Wiccan, it means it's a religious, spiritual path. That's the difference. That Wicca is my religion. So.
What we're going to do at the end of the show, we're going to go ahead and post up all the classes you teach at the center.
Thank you.
If there's anything else you want, we'll also put any websites you want. So, so audience, check out the end of the show, which we're coming to, and kind of get a look at some of the different things that we have going. We'll even post a little bit about we can post a little bit about the Pagan Pride Parade.
Oh, good. Greater New Orleans Pagan Pride Day.org. Right.
Well, so thank you so much for joining us.
Oh,
it's been a pleasure. Okay.
Bless you.
All right. Thank you. And audience, good night to you, and namaste.